Hi, it's Doug Dane. I put up a post with a question about, I said, you shouldn't be a parent. Ask me why. Well, let me explain why I did that. Because first off, I think that parents or adults should have a license to become a parent, but that's just me. I'm not going to create some law here. I was talking to somebody and I just thought it was a beautiful awareness. They said, Doug, I made a decision when I was younger that I wasn't going to be a parent. And the reason I decided to do that was because I didn't feel like I was equipped to raise a child. And most importantly was I knew that I had picked up rules, values, beliefs, cultural paradigms, biases, my own experience as a child. I had a distorted viewpoint, and I didn't want to perpetuate the generational cycle, which is really becoming more and more of a problem these days. I was on a call interview the other day, and I was talking about my book, Mistaken Identity, and I'm just quoting a stat that 60% of adults have experienced some form of adverse childhood experience, which is emotional abuse, physical abuse, sexual abuse, witnessing violence, mistreatment, neglect. I went through all that. You probably went through maybe one of those things or more. And the guy that was hosting the call, he said, I think it's higher than that. I go, what do you mean? He goes, well, I think it's like 95%. He said, I think that dysfunctional families has become the norm. And so, what happened to us as adults, that 60% of those people, like me and maybe like you that went through that, it caused us to be children and young people that really struggled. And then we grew into adolescents, teenagers, young adults, and older adults still struggling with our story, still struggling with our past, still struggling with our self-image, how we feel about ourselves, all based on what we inherited and what got drilled into us and what we experienced as a young person. And so I think we, as adults, we have a real responsibility to be really careful about how we treat young people, what we say to them, the rules, values, and beliefs that we drill into them just because there are rules, values, and beliefs. And so I really admired the person having the awareness. And they said, looking back now, I made a really good decision. Now, they're not at a stage of their life where they're going to have babies and have young children, but they did say, I'm ready to foster a child. I'm ready to mentor a young person. I'm ready to help young people because I now have awareness and I've let go of all those biases and I don't live my life that way anymore. And so that's what I meant when I said you shouldn't be a parent and ask me why. If you are a parent, I'm a parent. When I became a parent, I thought I better get my act together because I was a kid that struggled. I grew into an adult that was struggling and I didn't want to raise a kid that struggled. And so I've been working very hard ever since to become a better person. And I have a responsibility to my daughter to demonstrate improvements in my life and just be a better version of myself, treat people better, do better in the world, help other people do the same. And I think we as adults have a responsibility to really get our act together. And I think we also need to grow up. One of the chapters in my book is called Grow Up. Because a lot of adults, just because they're in adult bodies doesn't mean they're adult-like. A lot of adults are still very childish. I was a victim. I had this victim mentality. I dragged it around and used it as a great excuse. And I think that's just wrong. I think we need to take responsibility. So maybe you shouldn't be a parent until you let go of some of the paradigms and the mistaken identity and the things that you inherited. Do that first and then become a parent. Maybe by that time you'll need a license. Who knows? This is Doug Dane. Thank you.